somebody else putting out a negative ad against us until we saw the backlash from it. And at the same time, I don't think the people who put out those negative ads saw any problem with it as long as it wasn't the campaign themselves. But, you know, evidently people like to lump everything together and generalize things, and so they did connect it with us. So, I mean, you know, next time the guy who made the negative ads wants to help somebody out from the campaign, I'm sure he'll think twice and say, okay, well, I want to help you out. I want to put an ad out against this other guy. You know, is it okay if I do this?
Gestapo tactics. You think that's okay?
Yeah,
you think that's okay?
People, these are thoughts, though. You guys are just reading black and white and getting offended because we are in the middle of a political battle. These are people's thoughts,
Your supporters.
What he ended up doing was just running roughshod over an entire community, and it's really sad that what happened here.
The voter turnout has been said it's the best in years.
Oh, I can imagine this. I think perhaps it will be historic.
Well, it's always good to have a big turnout because that shows that there's a lot of people that have their input, which is always good. You know, I just hope they did the right thing and they did come out for us. But yeah, it's always good to have a big turnout. This will be probably the biggest turnout we've ever had in the village.
Well, I think the difficult thing is that it's hard to know what percentage of students will vote for a student just because he's a student. It's very difficult for someone like myself to get on campus and really let the students know what I stand for and for them to get to know me.
It's kind of great. It's got a lot of people out. It's shaking things up instead of people not voting and, you know, just letting things lie. So I think it's good.
In my estimation, it's always a good thing when you have this kind of a turnout. From what I understand, we're looking at over 850 people have voted at this point. The polls are about to close. And whenever you have a situation in which you have an election where you have 10 times the turnout of the last election, that shows that people care about the issues and care about their community and are coming out and voting.
Trustees? Okay. We have a Robert. And do you have the paper from the machine number 3?
Yes, right under here, isn't it?
No, that's machine number 1. Right under Charles Manson. And machine 1 was districts 1 and 7. It's just like the opposite there.
I really don't take a breath, but I want to get your reaction.
Respectable.
The first time running for office, you'd be very proud. With the limited resources also. Yeah.
That's right.
You don't have the machine, you don't have the resources.
I did spend about 1/8 of what my opponent did.
You beat him by
12-year incumbent? Yes. You kidding me?
I don't see.
Can't beat that.
I'm surprised.
And Russ, will you stay active in
Not to overwhelm you, but for younger, how did you feel as there was a lot of younger voters out there? How does that feel? It seems like.
Well, yeah, I've never had any problem with young adults. What I have a problem with is a mass of voters that may vote as a mass. I mean, it's one thing to deal with young adults individually. I mean, I deal with people at all ages within the community.
Students didn't come out. You got me by 135.
35 votes he lost by.
How many were there? It's been an experience.
169 for District 9, Mr. College. Voted for him, 10 voted for English.
(3:16), that refers to a passage in the Bible, which I wasn't familiar with until after I saw the Austin 3:16 thing. But it means, what does it mean? If you follow the Lord, you will be saved. But 3:16 was also a, it's also the date of the election. So it was kind of like a play on words. You know, people holding up the 3:16 sign when they're cheering for the person they want to win, or 3:16 also being the day of the election. We figured that it might be something that would appeal to some young people. Unfortunately, not enough people watch wrestling on campus, or at least less than we thought. Either that or wrestling fans are just not inclined to vote. Ross, March 16th, because we figured one of the hardest things was actually getting people to remember the date of the election. which it turned out to be a hard thing, despite all the publicity and all that. You know, people were like, oh, who was yesterday?
I think we've got an excellent board, and I would expect that, as I say, once we get a chance to get a little rest, that we will hit the board, hit the floor running, and try to address the issues that concern.
The promises he made this time. You did very well. 2 years ago, I was sitting right where you were, losing an election by 53 votes. So I know what it's like. It's painful. But you got to count on the fact that you did everything you could. You worked hard. So.
What? You gave it your best shot. You're 23 years old.
You did awesome. What are
life.
you, crazy? For the limited resources you had, the limited staff.
You got the police department to back you up. You got everybody.
Hand-drawn pictures here. We don't have photos. We got hand-drawn stuff.
You were crazy. You did excellent. Okay?
You motivated these guys. Not you got them. You should be proud of yourself. It's your first race.
Oh, don't get all mushy on them.
Yeah, get out of his ear.
Don't get all mushy on them.
Right. Come on, let's grab a cigarette.
Did you say goodbye?
Yeah. Love you, man. Did a good job. Proud of you.
Tonight is all about politics and
Of course it is.
But do you plan to run again in 4 years?
No idea. Probably not. You know, you reach a point where, you know, you begin to look for other people that you feel are good that you can pass the baton on to. But 4 years is a long time down the line.
Maybe I'd do a few things differently, and that might have changed the outcome. I sure didn't lose anything by doing this except for a little sleep.
We waited so long. Like, the first time Russ mentioned it to me, it was long before he ever went public with it. And I remember just thinking, like, what are you, crazy, you know, whatever. But then he would talk about it more, and we would talk about it, and it became real. And then he started doing it, and just that day, just to know that it was over was like almost like a big sigh, but it was so disappointing. It was, but he gave a good race. And he did.
It was